Okay, good afternoon, second altos. How are you all doing? Great to see you all. Hope you've all had a lovely morning, good lunch, well nourished to do some serious Mahler singing. And it looks like we've got a few first altos with us again, and even a couple of sopranos. Great, well, it's really good to have you all here. Excuse me while I just do a very quick sound check, just to check I'm sounding all right. Not too loud, not too quiet. That's the piano. And then a quick check with the backing track. There's Helen. Great, sounding good. As ever, just let me know if I'm too loud or too quiet, and I shall adjust myself. Because this piece is both extremely loud and extremely quiet at different times, so I might need to turn myself up and down. Great. Hello, Jill. Glad to hear you're looking forward to it. Hello, Paula. Great. Hello, Jackie. I've just been busy this lunchtime. One of my new lockdown things is I've started trying to make my own hedgerow wine. So I've got a batch of damson wine and a batch of plum wine currently brewing, and I've just set up a batch of blackberry and elderberry wine. I'm not sure I'm particularly set out for home brewing because I'm not very patient. So I've actually got 3 batches on the go, none of which I've yet been able to taste. So it may all be a disaster, but hopefully not. I won't drink it until Christmas. It spends a long time fermenting. But all the berries were grown just around here in the countryside near my home, so it's truly home brew. But we'll see. I've no idea how it's going to turn out. Well, we had a great time with the first altos this morning, and as I said to them, you're welcome to listen in on each other's sessions. Am I a bit loud? You're welcome to watch back the first alto session. Almost all of it's the same. There are only a couple of bits where we sing different notes. So watch each other's, and even the soprano stuff, because you often sing the same thing as the sopranos. So you've got plenty of materials to help yourselves get familiar with it. Paula says, try making sloe gin. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. And Jill, I did make elderflower champagne. The amazing thing about elderflower champagne is that I didn't even need to put any artificial yeast in it. I just put the elderflowers in a bucket with some water and some sugar and a bit of vinegar. And a few days later it started fizzing, which I couldn't really believe. And it turned out okay. It didn't explode in the bottles, which I've heard can be a bit of a problem. Maybe I should say don't try this at home. Anyway, so I can thoroughly recommend making your own elderflower champagne. It's very quick. I think it only took 2 weeks or something. Am I too quiet now? Okay, how about that? Okay. Anyway, so enough about home brewing. Easy to get carried away. Yes, and do not forget that you have Annika's very wonderful German recitation of the text, which I think Mark has sent to you already. If not, he will do, where she pronounces everything exactly as it should be pronounced in German. So if you're ever unsure about how to shape a vowel or a consonant, then you've got that resource there, which is excellent. It's really kind of her to do it for us, because they're these beautiful words which we can get to know. And today we'll really get inside exactly what the words mean and how Mahler actually set them to music and what it all means. So really looking forward to having a go at this. And we'll do a short warm-up. We'll give it 10 more minutes and then we'll do a warm-up with everyone. I think it's important not to do too much of a warm-up with singing easily. It's easy to over warm up, and actually this piece is really well written, in that Mahler knew you would have been sitting there for an hour by this point in a full performance, so you wouldn't be able to warm up. You can't sort of sit there while the orchestra's playing and sort of hum and do your lip trills. So the piece warms your voice up for you. We start nice and low and gentle and soft, and then it slowly builds up and gets bigger and bigger. So by the time we get to that top G at the end, you're fully warmed up for that, as we'll find out. Good question. Is there a translation available? We can send one round, I suspect. I mean, as I go through it today, I'll tell you how the words translate, so you can just write them into your copies. But I'm sure Mark will be able to get hold of a translation to send round, because it's so important to know what the meaning of the words is. So there we go. Paula says, a very good year for sloes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sloes not so good, I find, if you eat them straight off the bush. They kind of dry your mouth out, but somehow in a drink they're wonderful. Great. Well, I was reminded, I was chatting to Mark this morning, and he reminded me how we got to know each other, which is through our mutual friend Marina Mahler, who is Mahler's granddaughter. Which is an amazing thing, really, because Mahler died. I mean, Mahler was born in 1860, and he died in 1911. So it's extraordinary that his granddaughter, not even great-granddaughter, his first granddaughter, is still around. And she knew Alma, Mahler's wife, extremely well. She grew up with her as her grandmother, because Alma outlived Mahler by decades. I think she died in the 60s or something. Really outlived him by a very long time. And Mark and I both know Marina, and it was partly through this project that Mark was coming up with before that he got in touch with me, called the Mahler Marathon, which was this extraordinary idea of playing all of the Mahler symphonies within a couple of days as a kind of, like the name suggests, a kind of marathon to really connect a huge number of people through this music and draw attention to how important it is. And like almost everything this year, that's been put off, but instead it grew into this project that you're now part of, which is, if anything, I think an even more wonderful idea, and something we simply wouldn't have dreamed of had this pandemic not happened. And being able to sing this piece from wherever you are in the world, from whatever's going on in your life, whoever you are, is something that I think Mahler would have believed in very deeply. This really democratic way of performing and engaging with his music that I think is completely wonderful. And Marina, who's the founding patron of my orchestra, the Orchestra for the Earth, who will be playing the orchestral part for this, is 100% behind us on this. She just loves this idea. I mean, she spends her life trying to make things like this happen, trying to engage people with Mahler's music. And she set up the Mahler Foundation, which does just that, and they have a fantastic website. So if you haven't come across their website, have a look, because it's got the most wonderful resources about Mahler's life and his music. If you ever want to find out whatever Mahler was up to on any day of the year during his life, they have that information there. It's quite amazing. So check them out. Marina is a really wonderful person. You may have seen her little message that she sent Mark about this project, where she's just so excited to see it happen. So we have her blessing, which is about as high as Mahlerian blessings get in 2020. It's really wonderful. I actually met Marina. There's another fun story. I met her in Steinbach am Attersee, which is this tiny town on a lake in Austria, on what's called the Attersee, Lake Atter, which is where Mahler wrote this symphony. He built for himself a little composing hut, really very small. I mean, 20 feet by 20 feet, tiny, on the edge of this lake, which in those days, a bit like now, is not many people live there. It's very remote. It's very beautiful. Nature is just everywhere there. And I was there on a tour with my orchestra. And we played this concert with Marina sitting in the front row, which I can tell you puts the pressure on when you're conducting Mahler's music for her granddaughter. But it was a really very, very special event, and she was just there in floods of tears by the end of it. And she's really the most warm and wonderful person, really, really creative, really engaged with the arts and with the music that her grandfather wrote. And her mother, Anna Mahler, who was only 4 when Mahler died, was a sculptor as well, a wonderful sculptor, whose work you can still, if you look it up online, you'll see it. These beautiful, beautiful sculptures, which is, I think, a rather special thing that Mahler's kind of creativeness morphed into another art form in his daughter, and she became this sculptor. So there we go. If you're ever in Austria, it's just outside Salzburg, actually, Steinbach am Attersee. I can thoroughly recommend that you take a visit, or even a holiday. It's still a favoured holiday destination for Austrians in particular. And in Mahler's time, it was very, very popular with a sort of select group of artistic types. So Gustav Klimt, for example, also had a house there, amazingly. All sorts. And just down the road, in a place called Bad Ischl, was where Brahms lived. And Mahler, in Brahms's old age, used to cycle the distance, which is several miles, from Steinbach to Bad Ischl to visit old man Brahms. And, well, I can only imagine what it would have been like to be a fly on the wall in those conversations as the sort of 25-year-old Mahler sort of went and sat in Brahms's living room and took him his musical problems and said, how do I do this? I'm having real trouble composing this piece. And Brahms, in all his infinite wisdom, for all his reputation for being grumpy, I think was actually an extremely warm and kind man. And I think gave Mahler a lot of support in his early stage in his career, because it was not an easy time for him. When he wrote this piece, he was still in his first real big job as a conductor, because that's how he earned money, was as a conductor. He was working at the Court Opera in Budapest, in Hungary. In fact, he did the first performances of Wagner's Ring Cycle there in Hungarian, which is quite something to think of Mahler conducting Wagner in Hungarian in the 1880s, but that's what he did. But in 1888, he wrote the first movement of this symphony as a piece named Totenfeier, Funeral Rites. And in this unique capacity, Mahler had to write pieces in a character that preempted events in his life. For example, he wrote his Sixth Symphony, which is his most utterly tragic piece he wrote. And a year later, one of his 2 daughters died of scarlet fever. Marina Mahler's aunt, in fact, that was. Anyway, so he wrote this piece, the first movement of this symphony, the Second Symphony, called it Funeral Rites. And a year later, in 1889, his father and his mother and his sister all died in short succession. So having written this piece about funerals and about death, he was suddenly presented with it in a very real way. In fact, 6 of Mahler's siblings, he had 11 siblings, 6 of them died in infancy, so he was very familiar with death, and I think that puts this piece in a huge amount of context, because it was then, years later, in 1893, it took him 5-6 years to write this piece, that he was at the funeral of Hans von Bülow, who is a great mentor of his, and he heard a setting of this text, the Auferstehen text that begins this choral part of the symphony, sung at Hans von Bülow's funeral. And in that moment he said the idea for this finale of this symphony struck him like a bolt of lightning, and suddenly everything was clear. And he just built his hut in Steinbach, and so he went there and finished the symphony, I think, in an extremely short amount of time. And I think it feels like that, this piece. It feels like it was written in a flash of inspiration. It just carries you away and takes your breath away in a way that I think doesn't really fit with the idea of someone sitting and slaving over it. I think it was just this extraordinary kind of outpouring of music. So that's what we get to discover today. Great, and we've got loads of you here, which is brilliant, because I just love this alto part. I think it's just so beautiful. Mahler understood the human voice so well. Of course, he wrote reams and reams of songs. I think songs were kind of his way of sort of working through his musical mind between writing the symphonies. And so every vocal part in this piece is so beautifully written. Okay, that's enough from me. Let's do a warm-up. Only a little one, like I say. Feel free to stay sitting. I think once we get kind of into the swing of things with this piece, you can stand up. But for the beginning, certainly, I think it's quite fitting to stay sitting down. None of it's high, and it's nice to feel grounded. So let's just do some breathing exercises, because breathing is just critical for this. So deep breath in. I'll count to 7 for in. So breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Great, well done. Let's just do that once more. This time, bring your shoulders up. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then breathe out and relax your shoulders and just let everything in your life at the moment just exhale with you. Because now you're part of the self-isolation choir, and that's what we're going to do for the next hour and a bit, is sing this glorious music, and we just don't need to think about anything else. Just roll your shoulders back. It's always good to warm up our muscles. Singing really is a muscular activity. And then forwards. Great. Okay, and another trick for getting our breath control, which we did on Monday, which is lip trilling. So let's do it to some notes. So just going. And the key is, the thing about lip trilling is it forces you to have a constant stream of air. If the air isn't constant, then they stop trilling. So that's what it's all about. You should be really using your tummy muscles. So big deep breath. And great. Now to ah. Now good stuff. Joy says, does anyone roll an R at the same time? Yeah, I suppose you can do that. I don't do that, but I see no reason not to. It's important to warm up your tongue as well. Which brings me on to what is rapidly becoming our favourite exercise at the Self-Isolation Choir, which is Popper Caterpillar. The words are Popper Caterpillar, and we do it to a scale, going up and then down again. So, 1 and Popper Caterpillar, 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 Pop, and Popper Caterpillar, 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 Pop. Great. A little bit faster. Popper Caterpillar, 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 Pop. One more, even faster. Popper Caterpillar, 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 Pop. Great, good stuff. That really gets the mouth moving. And one more. Bella Signora. Nice Italian one. So we just go up and down an arpeggio. Bella Signora. We'll go down first and then work our way up. Bella signora, bella signora, bella signora. And that's our B flat, which we get in this piece. Going up again. Bella signora, really roll the R's. Bella signora, bella signora, bella signora, bella signora, really resonant. Bella signora, like a Pavarotti. Bella signora, bella signora, and bella signora. Very good. Okay, so that took us right from our B flat at the bottom to our G at the top, which is our range for this piece. So if you can do that, you can do Mahler too. And if you couldn't do that, we'll be able to do it by the end of this hour. So let's go from the top then. And like I say, the piece warms you up, so you can take it easy. Really, everything you know about singing and shaping music and phrasing goes out the window for this first bit, because we want it to be totally still. The closest thing to not singing at all, really. Like this music just comes from another world. We're in this really remote key, G flat major. Wacky though it sounds, actually, one of the nicest keys to play on the piano. And a really resonant one. I'm sure that's why Mahler chose it. It's got so much warmth in it. So let's find that warmth. Let's find that really soft sound. Sometimes people in this piece hum, half the choir hums because they can't sing quiet enough, but I think we're better than that. I think we can find a really soft, warm, gentle sound for this. So there's our D flat. It's a slow 4, 3 and 4 and gorgeous, yeah, and hum the N. At the end of words with N's on, especially in this kind of music, it's lovely to just hum it a little bit. Stehen. Just to kind of mediate between singing and not singing. It really kind of creates a wonderful atmosphere. Great, and as you will have heard there, I've written a little quaver in a circle on the score. And that's what you'll hear in the piano. Pulsing, 4 quavers. And then on the pause, 4 slow pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, off. So you'll see that kind of marking is all over the score as just a little visual aid to help you hold on to this. Because while for the audience this should feel like time has stopped, you're entering a different universe. If we felt like that, we wouldn't be able to sing together. So we need just something to make sure we know where the next beat comes. So I'll just gently pulse in the piano. And before we get there, after the word Staub in the second last bar of this page, I've put a little red comma. So most of the time, breathe whenever you need to, but when there's a red comma, we breathe consciously together. A sort of musical breath, because music needs to breathe as well as humans actually needing to breathe as well, for the same reasons. So let's go from the beginning again, and then we'll keep going. So the words are auferstehen, ja, auferstehen, auferstehen. Auf means up. Erstehen literally means sort of rise. So it means rise up, resurrect. That's why it's called the Resurrection Symphony. So it means resurrect. Yes, resurrect. Wirst du mein Staub, will you my dust, nach kurzer Ruhe, after a short rest. And there's this just wonderful setting of the word rest, Ruhe, where the harmony just melts away. chord, and then another amazing chord, and we just left suspended there. Just stunning. Okay, so from the top, and we'll keep going. 3 and 4 and breathe. Oh, yeah, wonderful. How does that feel? I hope it feels good. Like I say, just breathe, except for the red commas. Top yourself up as and when you need. There'll always be someone else singing when you're breathing. That's the wonderful thing about singing in a chorus like this, is that you can just sing as you need, breathe as you need. You can even breathe more often than you would, certainly if you're singing on your own, which means ultimately you can work on creating a more consistent, more beautiful, more rounded sound. And you don't need to feel like you're running out of puff and desperately trying to squeeze out the last bit of air. You can just enjoy yourself and breathe and sing as you need to. It's a really rewarding way to sing, I think. So, just a couple of details there. Ru, kürzer Ru. You can just gently roll that R on Ru. And the other thing is, in German, ST, like in Auferstehen, they pronounce as though as an SHT. Auferstehen. Just a gentle st. Only very gentle. It's the kind of thing that I think in German is often brushed away as being a harsh consonant, but really it's such a soft and beautiful word. Auferstehen. It's got so much kind of cushion behind it. So let's enjoy that. And then we'll keep going. So go with me and we'll go all the way up to figure 33. There's your D flat. 4 and rief dich done. Oh, it's just stunning, that opening paragraph, isn't it? Just makes you want to, I don't know, makes you want to weep. Great. Okay, well, I hope that felt good. There's only one really tricky corner, which is geben, the last word. C flat down to D flat, which is a minor seventh. So just really familiarise yourself with where that note is and that note is. And let's just try and sing it. Just straight on geben, 2 bars before 33. Geben, and hum the N. Great. Yeah, well done. Perfect. So, watch out in the third of 32 as well. Leben, and then we go up to that E natural again. There are 2 pulses on bun of that second Leben, and just a little breath. Snatch a little breath out of the end of that note, and then we can come in with wird. So it sounds like this. Leben wird da, and then we're in. So it kind of squished in. And like Mahler says, very soft. So just because you've had to snatch a quick breath, don't let the dynamic creep up. Keep it really gentle. Super. Okay, let's just go from the first unsterblich Leben, which means eternal life, unconquerable life, inextinguishable life, you might say. And then the next words, werd der dich rief dir geben. So wird der, will he, the one, dich rief, who called you, dir geben, give to you. So eternal life will the one who called you give to you. That's what the words mean here. I think that's why it's also hushed, because it's just this promise of salvation that is so hard to believe at this moment in the piece, because the symphony has been so in such turmoil up until this point that, as you'll know from the beginning of the last movement, it's really a wild ride. So when the chorus appears and this voice, as if from heaven or from another world, sings this promise of how the piece ends, it's the most astonishingly magical moment. So 2 before 32, and then we'll move on. Unstab, and unsterblich Leben. 1 and unsterblich Leben wird der dich rief, breathe. Sorry, put the syllable in the wrong place, that's my fault. And then the orchestra answers with relief, I think. And you get to take a deep breath and kind of process what you just sung. Wonderful, good stuff. So that's your first real section. This amazingly ecstatic atmosphere I think it creates. And you're always the top of the texture there. I know the sopranos are written above you, but really it's an alto tune here. Mahler knew the special colour of an alto sound, of an alto voice, the warmth and kind of reassuring colour that is unique to the alto voice. And so that's why you're at the top of the texture here, at the top of this chord. And the sopranos just colour that. They're inside your sound. You may be used to it being the other way around, but for once, the altos have a really unique and special role in this first bit, which is that you are the melody and you are the colour of the music. So enjoy that. Mahler clearly trusted altos, as we all should. Okay, so this takes us on to figure 35, where after this orchestral interlude, the lower voices sing and then you join them, and then the same thing happens, and then you join them again. And we take ourselves all the way up to 37. So I'll sing the tenor part at 35 and then join in the 6th bar. Wieder auf zu blühen, wirst du gesät. Wieder auf zu blühen. One and wirst du gesät. Wonderful. Good stuff. Yeah, so that T, where I've written it on the 4th quaver of that bar at the end of Gesät, we'll just gently place that together. Not a strong T, just a really soft T at the end of that. Because the words are wieder aufzublühen. To bloom again, wirst du gesät, were you sown. Literally like a seed. So you were planted as a seed in order to grow again, in order to rise again. Auferstehen. And then the next bit, the text is der Herr der Ernte, the Lord of Harvests. Der Herr der Ernte geht, goes, und sammelt Gaben, and gathers up like sheaves of corn or wheat, uns ein, us together, as one, die starben, who have died. So the Lord of the harvest goes and gathers up like sheaves, us together, who have died. So the first bit says, rise again, yes, rise again. And the second bit says, the Lord of harvests, you were sown in order to rise again, and you will be gathered up. So let's try that. I'll go 3 bars before 36. So it's kind of split into 2 parts, this bit. I'll sing the tenor part again, and then you join in again. So 2 before 36 with the upbeat. Der Herr der Ernte. 1 and der Herr der Ernte again. Good stuff. Really, really good. So you really have to hang on there for dear life for those last couple of bars. There's an extra long 3/2 bar in there. Just as though time is kind of stretching out. He's written out a ritardando, but he's actually written it into the music in that the bars literally get longer. So count 12 quavers in that bar, or however you need to think of it to get your head around it. I think I listen 12 quavers. You can also listen to in the orchestra and the sopranos. They've got that clash, and then the last minim resolves, and then we move. So you don't move until you've heard that resolution. And one tricky bit here, which is going into the triplet bar. So we've had Zamelt, E flat, F flat, and then we go up a tritone to a B flat. Hardest interval to sing. Melt ein. So just sing that a couple of times just to get used to it. Melt ein, melt ein, melt ein. So you really got that interval in your head. Let's just sing that from und sammelt, bar 529. So that's an E natural. 1 and und sammelt That's it. Yeah, really good. Trick for that is just know what the note is before you sing it. Have it in your head, and then you can move to it. If you only think of the note as you sing it, you're always going to have to kind of readjust as you arrive. It's a trick that horn players taught me, that because playing the horn is a really, really difficult instrument, because so much of the notes they produced, it's not using the valves, it's actually just using their lips. Like an old-fashioned hunting horn, they can change the note by just using their lips. So they always have to know the note that they're about to play. They need to be able to hear it in their ear, and it's just the same with singing. So just when you're on that F flat, just know where the B flat is, and then you can move to it. So you're way ahead of yourself. One of the advantages of it being slow is that you've got that time. Let's do that once more then. Let's go from figure 35. I think it's important to do this piece in big chunks because it works on a big scale. Okay, so this is figure 35. I shall be the tenors. Wieder auf zu blühen, wirst du gesetzt, and wieder auf zu blühen, and 2 and 3 and 1, and wirst du gesetzt. Der Herr, der Erntag. 1 and der Herr, der Erntag gern. 2, 3, ta. Und breathe. Die Stadt off. Great. Sorry about my little slip there in the middle of the triplet. That was absolutely wonderful. Someone says as a horn player they know it's true, but easier said than done. Well, yeah, you could say that about this piece as well. It certainly is easier said than done, but what a reward when you do sing it. And like I say, don't sing to the point where you feel you're running out of breath. Take a comfortable amount of breath whenever you need it, because that's the whole point of this, is that you can breathe as you need to, and there'll always be someone covering you, because together we produce this amazing legato line. Fabulous. Okay, so let's move on and have a look at the next bit. So there's a little bit with the soprano soloists, the soprano and alto soloists, and then the pace starts to pick up a bit, and we get to 42, where the men go, Was entstanden ist, das muss vergehen, and was vergangen auferstehen. That's it. These powerful brass chords that come to rest on this amazing scrunch. And there we are in E flat major. So we've come from our starting key on another planet, G flat major. And literally the harmony sounds like it rises, it resurrects as we go to E flat major from G flat. And that's where we end up at the end of the piece. So this little moment is just a vision of the end of the piece. It's a celestial vision. And the words here, was entstanden ist, what came into being, das muss vergehen, that must perish. And then, like a mirror, the words reflect that when you come in, was vergangen, what is bygone, what is past, what has perished, auferstehen, will resurrect. And that's why we had this powerful rising line, was vergangen, because you answer the basses and the tenors there. So let's try that straight on your entry. Was vergangen, 1, 2, 3. Was vergangen auferstehen. Brilliant, yeah, good. And those little hats on top of the notes, little triangles, are just to say, give it a bit of punch. After, all of this smooth singing we've been doing before, here we want guts. Every note, auferstehen, really gutsy. And it says vorwärts, which is, as it sounds, the word for forwards in German. So the tempo picks up there. So really a big injection of energy. And then after that, hör auf zu beben. Hör auf zu beben at figure 43. That means cease your trembling. Literally listen up. Hör auf. And then the tenors and basses sing bereite dich. Prepare yourself. And then you answer bereite dich zu leben. Prepare yourself to live. Okay, so let's try this from 42 and we'll keep going. Tenors sing was entstanden ist, das muss vergehen, and was vergangen auferstehen. Great. Let's keep going. Trombones. Always difficult to get trombones to play quietly. That was a conducting tip from Wagner. He said, never look at the trombones, it only encourages them. So this is 43. Oh, tenors and basses, auf zu cease your trembling, burn. And this is you and hör auf zu beben. Off. Then men go bereite dich. And then you answer bereite dich zu Perfect. Well done. Yeah, so there we've got mezzo forte, diminuendo, triple P, diminuendo. So you can start quite strong. The tenors and basses will give you, I can assure you, a strong fortissimo on there, bereite dich. That will be gutsy. And so you can kind of bathe in the afterglow of that with your mezzo forte and enjoy this chord change. Bereite dich. And just let it die away. Because then the orchestra really takes off. And stuff gets going. Okay, great. Just watch for the vowel on hör, third of 43. Hör auf zu beben. The it's almost like an in English, like what's going on, but just a little bit kind of softer than that. Hör auf zu beben. And the letter Z at the beginning of a word in German is like a TS. Z. Zu beben. Great. Okay, let's keep going then, because now stuff really gets exciting. So the next bit for you guys really starts at figure 46. So there's a bit with the soloists where they sing these wonderful words. O Schmerz, du alldurchdringe, O pain, you piercer of all things, dir bin ich entrungen. From you I have been wrested. O Tod, du allbezwinge, O death, you conqueror of all things. Nun bist du bezwungen. Now you are conquered. And then our words, mit Flügeln, die ich mir errungen, with wings which I have won for myself, werde ich entschweben, will I entschweben, soar up. So with these wings I have won for myself, I will soar up. And that's what happens. This music just soars, and the tempo picks up bit by bit and bit by bit until we go crashing headlong into figure 47 in a controlled manner, with any luck. So it's a little fugue. So the basses sing something very similar to you first. They go mit Flügeln, die ich mir errungen, werde ich entschweben. And then you answer mit Flügeln, die ich mir errungen, werde ich entschweben. So just watch for that harmonic change. We're in E flat major. Werde ich and then we go into G major. Schweben. Most sort of miraculous harmonic change. Mark's just reminded me, I should say, we're planning to go just an extra quarter of an hour for these sessions. We just found in the first couple that just bit of buffer time really helped, so we don't feel we need to rush through it. Of course, leave whenever you need to leave. You can always pause. You can always watch back. You have me on tap. So do what you like. But I'm going to go for the extra 15 minutes, mostly so at the end we can just give it a sing through bit by bit, so you feel that we've worked through it and then we've got a hold on it. So let's sing this together. This is the end of the fourth bar of 46. Mit Flü. Just sing it with me playing the piano. And it's really in 2 here. We're in minims. 1, 2. Mit Flügeln, die ich mir errungen, werde ich entschweben. 1, two. Mit Flügeln, die ich mir errungen, werde ich entschweben, entschweben. And werde ich, ja, werde ich entschweben. That's it. I've written these little red slurs underneath just to say keep the breath going. The idea, like I say, is that you don't breathe anywhere. It doesn't sound like you've breathed anywhere as a choir. So I've put those slurs underneath the bits that I think maybe would be most tempting to breathe at, but actually would be in some ways the worst place to breathe because we really want to keep the line going. So snatch breaths as and where you need to. But maybe not in those places, just because I was a bit worried that those would be the obvious places, so everyone would breathe there. So breathe where you need to, but maybe avoid the red slurs. Try and give yourself enough breath so that you can go through at those moments. Great. Okay, so let's try that once more with me playing a bit of accompaniment underneath, and then we can do it with the pro singer as well. It will speed up eventually, but now let's just keep the tempo the same, just so we can get a hold on ourselves. So this is 46, where the basses go mit Flügeln, die ich mir errungen, werde ich mit Flügeln, die ich mir errungen, werde ich entschweben. 1 and 2. Mit Flügeln, die ich mir errungen, werde ich entschweben, entschweben, werde ich, ja, entschweben. So I'll go into 4 for those last 2 bars. That's absolutely cracking. Well done. So it just really slows up for those last 2 bars. Burn off. Wham! Onto the più mosso 47. It's just the most tremendously exciting moment, that. It's like we've all taken flight in different places, all the parts singing at different times on these amazing rising lines, and then all together at 47. It's just the most glorious writing. And I love how he gives the altos the second entry, so you really get profiled here. He says triple P sehr zart, which means very soft, sort of dolce, but don't let it be too soft. I think we need to be able to hear you. This should be obvious, I suppose. Okay, let's try this with the backing track. So I can conduct, and you can sing along with Helen Stanley, our wonderful pro alto who has recorded this for you. And you will have these backing tracks with a video of me conducting when you record. I've split the whole symphony, the whole movement, into 4 parts. So when you record it, you can record each part individually instead of doing it all in one big puff, which I think would be unnecessarily taxing for everybody. So you can make it. I've made it just a little bit more digestible. Okay, so here we go. This is the backing track. Okay, so this is somewhere before 46. This is in the soprano and alto solo bit. Okay, couple of bars before 46. I'll sing the bass entry at 46 and then bring you on in at the end of the 4th bar. Basses. Mit Flügeln, die ich mir errungen werde. And tenors, and go. That's it. Tempo keeps moving, and 1, 2. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's 47. Great. Okay. I hope that makes a bit of sense singing it like that. And as you see, the tempo really moves along there. So keep it going. You've got to snatch your breaths fast and keep going so you don't get left behind. Slightly tricky line in 690, 691. Werde ich ja, ja. That A to B flat. A little bit. Makes a bit more sense with the harmony underneath. Great. Okay, well, let's do that, and then we'll keep going. The next bit is broadly in minims. It's in 2 at 47. Sterben werde ich, and you'll hear crotchets pulsing in the piano. Sorry, I was at 5th out. So we'll just sing this first, then we'll go back and do 46 again, because I know it's the trickiest bit by far. But we'll prepare ourselves for 47 first. So here's 47, B flat, 1, 2. Sterben werde ich zu leben. Sterben werde ich breathe zu leben. That was about 4 out of 10 from me. Let's just do that last sterben. 704. 1, 2. Sterben werde ich zu and I'll give myself 5 out of 10 that time because I put the bun in the wrong place. But let's try it from 46. If the Fs are too high, just sing it down an octave because you're with the tenors. So I would sing 704, 5, 6, 8, those 4 bars down an octave. But then for the E flat on Leben, I'm sure you can get that. So go back up for that. Sterben werde ich zu leben. But yeah, you're very, very welcome to double the tenors for those few bars. But just see how it goes. You know, the nice thing about this piece is, in the moment, maybe you can muster a note that you've never sung before. If you're me, it's probably not a good note that you've never sung before, but for you guys, I hope it's a beautiful one. So let's do that once again. So this is going, just starting somewhere before 46, and I will bring you in your bar after 46. Okay, this is about to be the bass entry. Mit Flügeln, die ich mir errung. 1, 2. One and two and 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 1. One and 2 and. Three, 4, and that's 48. Fantastic. If you're really struggling with that top note, but you want to get it, a trick I find, I'm a tenor, so I kind of sympathise with having to sing higher than you feel comfortable. Obviously, be standing up if you can for this, if I'm a bit loud. Stand up if possible, and bend your knees when you hit the high note. Just before, unlock your knees, just bend them ever so slightly, and you'll find your core just supports it a little bit more. Have a lots of space at the back, like there's a pear in your mouth with the stalk here. Oh, like that. So you've got plenty of resonance. Don't force it, just let it out. Much easier to think of high notes as coming, as you're coming to them from above than below. If you're kind of trying to crank out to a up to a high note, it only adds to the stress. So just think that you're going from there. So think I'm going to hit it there instead of there. Just come at it from above and see what happens. The amazing thing about this is if you feel you want to try and give it a go with an F, try recording it that way. If it doesn't work and you don't want to do it, just do it the octave below and you can record it again. You can do it as many takes as you like. You know, if you think today is not an F day, and I know what those days feel like, because that's most days of my life. If today's not the day, record it another day. Don't do it first thing in the morning, because nobody wants to sing that high first thing in the morning. Don't do it straight after you've been eating. Some people say dairy products don't help, but really it's just up to you. You know, find the note that you want to enjoy singing and sing that note. Because we're not here to examine you. We're not here to give you marks. All I care about is that you enjoy singing this. So up or down the octave, whatever you want. Okay. I hope that made a bit more sense in the fugal bit, 46. Easy to get lost. I appreciate everything's happening at different times. We'll do it again at the very end. Let's have a look at this final bit then. Auferstehen. So what we've just said, sterben werde ich zu leben. Prepare yourself for life. And what a preparation it is. That amazing E flat major. And we sing, go with me here. That is a mistake in the parts. On that second Auferstehen, fourth bar of 48, it is written as though you go back up to an E flat. You should be on a B flat. Both notes in the fourth bar of 48 should be B flats. So you go Auferstehen, ja, auferstehen wirst du. So on that second stehen, write in a B flat. Because that's what being a second alto is all about. We want to be that lower note. Because the chord just wouldn't be the same without you there. That's without, this is with. Really adds warmth and richness, so you're critically important. So write that in your parts. I'm afraid Helen will be singing an E flat because she had the same score as you and I did not spot that mistake in time. But I've seen it now. So the fourth bar of 48 on stehen, that's a B flat. Easier to sing as well. Okay, straight on 48 then. Let's do it again. 3 and 4 and auferstehen. ist du mein Herz in einem, nu long note 3 and 4 off, warst du geschlagen, and warst du geschlagen, zu Gott, zu Gott, zu Gott wird es dich And that is it. And what a way to end. Just like before, if you don't want to sing that G, there is no problem. The only thing that matters is that you sing. Go for the second soprano part. So the second sopranos go up to a D. And actually, you'll see, you're higher than the second sopranos. I think Mahler wanted that alto sound in the middle of that chord in the female voices. But just go from a B flat, to D, and then gone. You don't need to sing the top G and F if you don't want to. Glorious moment though it is. But if you're worried about it not sounding good enough or whatever, that is just not a problem. Sing your heart out. Sing to your heart's content. You will blend. It's the wonderful thing about being in a choir. So just pick the note you want to sing and sing it. So here, if you want an alternative, go second soprano. Thing to note is that 6 before 49, it gets quicker. Warst du geschlagen. Just go with me there. It feels natural. I hope it feels natural. And then it really spaces out towards the end. We all breathe after the last Gott in 7-2-8. So in the middle of the triplet. Gott wird es. Okay, so I think we can do that bit. I think we should now finish things off, sing through the whole thing in the 4 parts that you'll record it in. So you get familiar with that, and with the backing track, and with me conducting. So back to figure 31. And let me get the backing track up. I would sit down for this bit, but whatever you feel like. Have a glass of water, take a breath, get ourselves back in this zone. Okay. Here it comes. So you'll get your notes first. A really warm, soft start. You couldn't be further away from where we've just been. Three and 4 and.
First
Nice to be back at the beginning, isn't it? Then we get this gorgeous golden orchestral interlude. Three bars to go before the tenors. This harmonic change. And this is you. One. Ready for this note? Have it. First part. Okay, so then we get a breather. Oh, feels bad to interrupt it. We get a little breather, and then we go into 42. Again, you get a cue from the tenors and basses who come in before you. This is the alto solo, just after 41. So by this point, your blood oxygen levels should be roughly back to normal. Here are the men. Was entstanden ist. Wonderfully magisterial. Es muss vergehen. Here's you in a quicker tempo. 3.
Was vergangen auferstehen.
Yeah, that's the idea. So that's your second recording track there. And here comes the third. The middle ones are nice and short. So, 4 tenors and basses at 43. And this is you. Two, three. Two, off. This is you. 2, 3. Great. So that's our last little bit of kind of relaxation. We get a little break, and then fourth and final part gets going. So here it comes. Why don't we listen to the little intro. So this is coming up to figure 45 with the two soloists. Music just keeps picking up pace. Nicht flügeln dich mehr. This is about to be you. 1, 2. Great. And two, three, 4. Another big breath. Three, 4. Here we stay on the B flat. This now long note, and 2 and 3 and 4 off. What a feeling. We get this amazing play out by the orchestra. But let's save that for another time. Well done. It's not a long sing, but it is a big sing. And what a rewarding sing. And like I say, with those top notes, you do what you want. You know, Mahler said, if anything after I die doesn't work, change it. And I think we can take that to heart. If the top G and the top F don't work for you, change them. Sing the second soprano or sing the tenor part for those moments. It just doesn't matter. It's all part of being in a group. But if you want to, you can do it. And like I say, you can take as many takes as you want. If you really want to get the notes you want to get, you do that. But it's about singing and enjoying this music, because whichever part you sing, you're still singing the same piece. You're still taking part in the same thing, and that's what's most important about this. So thank you for a wonderful rehearsal. It is just such a treat to get inside this music. Like I say, I think the alto part is, and I'm not just saying this to flatter you, genuinely such a wonderful part of this. It's such an important part of the music. So you guys are critical. And I hope you're enjoying yourselves, and I hope you're enjoying getting inside this truly, truly wonderful music. So any questions, we're always here to answer them. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you all soon.